Oh, grow up. Grow up! Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy December 16th, and welcome to your horror advent calendar. Yesterday, things got a little bit out of hand with Jack Frost, but let's see if we're in for something a little more family-friendly today. Okay, today's pick is Silent Night, Deadly Night, which came out in 1984 and was directed by Charles E. Sellier Jr. Perhaps not at all more family-friendly than Jack Frost, but let's see what the Letterboxd summary says. You've made it through Halloween, now try and survive Christmas. Little Billy witnesses his parents being brutally murdered by Santa. Years later, when he has to fill in for an absent in-store Santa Claus, his childhood trauma materializes once again. Yeah, so this is a lovely little Christmas movie about childhood trauma and murder. And as a matter of fact, this was such a controversial thing to be doing that in the 80s when this movie came out, it was like boycotted by several of those like mom groups, you know the ones, because they were just so scandalized that Santa was murdering people, which gives me pause for several reasons. First of all, was their plan to bring their children to see Silent Night, Deadly Night? Don't do that. This movie's not for kids. Don't bring your kids to a movie where a child's parents are viciously murdered by a guy dressed as Santa. And point number 2 that I have to make is it's a guy dressed as Santa. Like, it's not Santa Claus coming down from the North Pole murdering people. It's just some guy. And I believe this controversy was so strong that the movie was pulled from theaters 1 week after its release. Can you imagine that? But it seems like now Silent Night, Deadly Night has a more favorable view than it did in the 80s. You'll see on Letterboxd it has an average rating of 3 out of 5 stars, which I think is fair. I had a lot of fun with this one. I actually hadn't watched it before this year, which feels weird because I quote Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 practically daily.
Garbage day! Huh? No!
But I had never seen it, so it was lovely to fill this little blind spot of mine. And you'll see, for the most part, my friends on Letterboxd who have seen this movie enjoy it as well. A real crowd pleaser. But yes, let's talk about the things there are to like about Silent Night, Deadly Night. I think it's very funny. Unlike Jack Frost, I think it's funny in a way that's intentional, like the things that are supposed to be funny are funny, which is great. It's also just such a weird movie. Like, there's this one scene in particular. It's a musical montage of Billy at his new job at this department store, and it's just like 3 minutes long of this entire song. And I won't need no more on the one side of the door. Of just footage of him like stocking the shelves and like helping people find stuff. But then there's like an abrupt record scratch when they start unveiling the Christmas decorations and he sees a drawing of Santa and you see his whole face just like drop completely. And I think it's hysterical. But yes, this boy has a lot of unresolved Santa trauma because one night when he was a little boy, he was driving home with his family from visiting his grandpa in a nursing home.
Mommy, you shouldn't have said that. It's naughty to say bad things about old people. Santa Claus will punish you.
And they pulled over on the side of the road to help out this guy dressed in a Santa costume who seemed to be having car troubles. But then this guy dressed as Santa straight up murders Billy's parents right in front of him. It's really sad, actually. It's quite upsetting. And so naturally he has some Santa issues. But at this new job, he's asked to dress up like Santa because the regular Santa called in sick, and this just awakens murderous rage within him, and he goes on a rampage. And to be honest, I just think that's really fun, watching a guy in a Santa outfit run around with an axe, murdering people, chopping through people's doors. It's funny. I like it. The kills in Silent Night, Deadly Night are also really fun. There's a lot of really festive, creative stuff going on, and I appreciate that. It's just so campy, so lovely, so fun. I do recommend it. But as always, there are some negatives to this movie as well. So first of all, I think the pacing of the movie that's a bit odd to me. So like the movie starts when Billy's very young and his parents get murdered. And then it flash forwards a few years to him living in an orphanage with his brother. And I don't know why we do that, because then 10 minutes later we flash forward again to him being like 16 or 18 or something. And I just don't understand the purpose of there being two flash forwards, especially because nothing really happens in that first flash forward. It's just establishing that he's not a well-adjusted kid and he's got Santa issues. But like, that's pretty clear already. But I don't know, it just felt weird to me and was like an unnecessary padding of time. And by the end, the movie did feel like it was dragging a little bit, like it had been going on a little too long. And maybe if we had eliminated that first flash forward, that wouldn't be the case. I don't know. And I don't know if this is so much a negative, but it's just something I had to mention. At least the version I was watching, and I believe any Blu-ray version of this movie that you watch, there are some scenes where there is a hilarious discrepancy in the film quality. This is because, as you'll remember, the movie was so controversial. Apparently a lot of scenes had to be cut down. Majority of them are kill scenes and the really bloody stuff is cut out. But the stuff that they did cut out is in such lower quality than the rest of the movie. And the first time it happened, I was so confused. I was like, did they only restore half the movie? What is going on? But it's these really weird, innocuous little blips of like 2 minutes of a scene that are just potato quality. But like I said, I don't even think that's a negative. I just had to bring it up. And lastly, as for the festive levels, I think this is as straight up Christmassy as any horror movie gets. It's just the perfect thing. I mean, look at that. Santa's coming down the chimney with an axe. What's better than that? I hope you do check it out if you've never seen this one before like myself. I really had a lot of fun with it. I do recommend it. Let me know if you do. Let me know if you don't. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I will see you tomorrow.
Santa's watching, Santa's creeping. Now you're nodding, now you're sleeping. Were you good for Mom and Dad? Santa knows if you've been